What's going on, guys? So I started a new character and a longer video was requested. So I decided to go through and show you the highlights of my first day trying to go from 0 to hero. So starting off, I did the tutorial and I decided to go with a bow to start. So I harvested enough materials and I went with the novice bow. This way I could do some AoE damage from afar, especially when I get to the later levels where I wanted to do as much AoE damage as possible to mobs.
Have a look.
So at this point, once I got my tier 2 through the tutorial, I just sold everything. And this is a tip for new players. Gather as much rough stone as you can. So I didn't do this when I first started, but I wish I had because it gives you a great start to the to your character. It takes a little long starting off, but they spawn pretty quickly. So you could just take your mount, your mule, ride around, and just mine as much stone as you can. I did up to 130%. You can do a lot more, but I don't want to be that slow. So I figured 130% was enough. And based on the comments I received from my previous video, I decided to go with Bridgewatch. I already have a Martlock character, so Bridgewatch it is. Now, normally you want to accept the quest to get your premium. I didn't do this because I wanted to wait until I had 3 days straight that I could maximize the use of my premium. So instead, I just went straight to the marketplace in Step Cross and decided to go and sell all my stone. Once I have 3 days in a row, maybe next week, I'll be able to go back to that tutorial and make sure I get that premium so it's more efficient. So here, it's actually pretty cheap stone. Usually it's more than 100 silver a piece, but in Bridgewatch I guess it's a little bit less. Still, I start off with 59,000 silver, just from 130% carry weight of stone. I did this a while ago, so I kind of forgot how to do it, but if you go to the chat, you could remove anything like looking for group or any other chat you don't want. So another tip for new players, I see people asking about that all the time in general chat, so I figured I'd just include it in this video. Alright, so my first goal was to get the next level of bow mastery so I can get my level 3 bow, my journeyman's bow. And I decided to go with as much AoE type damage as possible, so I went with multi-shot, and I tried my best to group up mobs and kill them as quickly as possible. So the next goal here was getting to next level of leather, hood, boots, and armor. So I actually used my learning points. You get 100 after the tutorial, and I used 18 total so far, all to get my gear up to the next level. You could see here I could equip the Adept's Bow because I used my learning points once I got to 20%. And that was one of my main goals early on, was to get to a longbow as quickly as possible. Luckily this one was the cheaper bow, and I actually got 1 enchantment on it, and it looks like excellent quality. So the higher the quality, the higher the enchant, the more damage it's going to do, and that's why I'm searching through the marketplace for this. I probably should have gone to Bridgewatch, but I was just at Step Cross and I wanted to get as much tier 4 as possible. So getting to tier 4 is pretty quick, especially if you lose learning points. You kill a few mobs and then just use the learning points that you get from the tutorial, and you'll get to T4 pretty quickly, especially if you have 50,000 from the stone from the tutorial island. And from here, I was able to go into the yellow zones and do pretty decent damage and kill mobs pretty quickly with my, even without any specs, but just with the tier 4 gear alone. The only ones I kind of had trouble with were like maybe the enchanted elites for a single target, but the AoE damage is pretty solid. So I got my first Adept's Tome of Insight based on the challenges, the daily challenges, and I immediately just used it because early on even small amounts of combat fame can get you up pretty quickly, damage-wise. At this point, I was kind of fooling around with the different skills and trying to kite monsters or mobs. I'm used to playing Dagger, so I'm not kiting as much. And I didn't even realize there's an Easter event going on. So these little Easter eggs that pop up, you get chocolate and Easter eggs, and they're actually pretty, especially for a new starting out player. It's about 800 to 1,000 for each egg of silver. So once I collected those, I went back to the marketplace and I immediately sold them. And then once I had my tier 4 gear and some decent amount of silver, I started doing some market flipping. So people have questions on how to do that, but here I just found that mules were, there's a large margin between the buy orders and the sell. So you could see here it's 5,200 for a sell order and buy order is 2,600. So if you put up a buy order to buy it, people will sell it to you for that 26.76 price, and then you could take it and resell it back with a sell order for 5,200. I just know that mules, you know, everyone could use a mule because it really doesn't take any specs to use. So it's a pretty high in demand, especially in the step cross as well as Bridgewatch market. So I quickly just put all my extra silver into mules. And once I did that, I just went back and started farming more so I can get more silver. And I decided, being that my other character has like every other gathering skill, I wanted to go with skinning because that's the only one I don't have. And AoE works well because you could kind of gather all the animals together and then just skin them all without much wasted movement. So I got as many hides as I could, and I sold them all, and you could see my silver slowly growing because I'm not only making it from the monsters I kill, but also the items I sell, as well as making 100% margin, which is ridiculous. It's rare you're going to find items like that. Normally I'll get like 20% or 30% margin, and it wasn't long before people started finding out about the mule price within like the few hours of me playing. You'll see that later on in the video. So I wanted to upgrade my bag so I could hold more hide, and I did that. I got the tier 4 enchanted bag, and I got a horse. Is this my horse? I can't even tell if it's the mule or the horse, but I believe it's the tier 3 riding horse, which gives some carry weight as well. I could have done an ox, but I wanted some mobility, so when I'm kiting these enemies, I can group them up and kill them all at once. So my next goal here was to be able to get the next tier of skinning. So in addition to killing a lot of different animals for their hides, I was killing some enchanted berserkers and other humanoid type mobs in hopes I can get tomes of insight. But the fame and the silver alone was pretty good for leveling up my specs. So you can see here I got better at kiting and using rain of arrows to just kill everything, and without me even moving, so they kind of group up on top of me, and then I'm using the assassin hood so I can kind of recharge, and it channels cooldown reduction, so I could reuse my skills more often. Then once I had my buy order set for mule, I started looking for other items to flip with the extra silver that I found, and I went with looking through the tools from tier 5 to tier 6. I couldn't really afford tier 6, so I tried to stick with 4 and 5. Like for example, the sickle, I'd be making maybe 1,000 per. The skinning knife, I'd be making a little bit more than 1,000 per, so I bought a few. So if I buy and sell 4 of them, I'm looking at an extra 4,000 silver. So it's small amounts of silver because it's based on the percentage of what I could actually buy and sell. But it's definitely worth it when you leave your buy orders and then go and kill. And then you get lucky with things like this. This is the first baby drop I got. I got an Adept's Fawn, which was worth 50,000 silver, which is a great asset to sell, so I could again get more silver and use that to flip even more. So if I'm getting 20% on the 50, that's another 10,000 every couple hours or so. So I went back, started selling everything. Again, you can see I'm at 48,000 silver, and that doesn't even include the buy and sell orders that I had in the market. But all the hides, all the eggs. And here by accident, and I realized it later, I was really close to getting tier 4 skinning. But for some reason I bought the tier 5 knife. So you can see here I'm at 107,000. And I'm buying and selling horses for about, buying for 20,000, selling for around 30, so another 10,000 per. And I was close to tier 5 for my bow as well. Here I got my learning point for my adept animal skinner. And I used my learning points on that. So I used 35 learning points and I had 46 left. And it was this point I realized I needed the tier 4 skinning knife, not the tier 5. So I had to go back, buy the tier 4 and travel back. Then I get a nice Tome of Insight, which is worth around 18 to 20, and instead of using it, I wanted to go back and sell it so I could use that silver for more flipping of other items. As I progressed, I got better at kiting, got decent item drops I could sell, and you can see I'm at 137 pure silver. And you can see the mules are finally found by someone, and now it's 5,000 buy order, 4,000 buy order, 5,000 sell order. So you're still making around 20% if I put 4,001 as my bid, but not 100%. I mean, you can't expect that to last forever. But it was nice while it lasted. I made some good silver there, and at this point, I think I was around 200 to 300,000 silver, just continuing the same process of killing enemies, getting their silver, selling hides, selling items, and then funneling that, kind of investing it back into the market flipping in Bridgewatch. And being that my gear is so cheap, I could journey back so easily. It doesn't cost me like 30,000 silver like it does on my other character, where I'm using higher gear when I fight elite mobs, group mobs. But finally, after making a good amount of silver and leveling up, I finally got to tier 5, just killing open world mobs for fame. And you can see here I'm just selling off my tier 4 because I don't need it anymore. Now I do not have premium, so I am paying 8% instead of a 4% fee in the market, but I'm still able, kind of another reason why I wanted to do this, because I'm still able, without premium, still to do the market flipping and make it worthwhile if you have decent enough margins. I decided to go with Hunter Jacket again. It gives you haste, which increases attack speed, and then I like getting reduced cooldown so I could continue using my abilities for AoE. Usually 2 of the random arrows kills the elite tier 5 mobs.
Don't be shy.
And I started expanding from tools to riding horses to some beds. Whatever I found had good margins between the sell order and buy order in Bridgewatch. Here I was actually able to finally do enchanted tier 4 animals with my tier 4 skinning knife, which was nice. And I checked and it's 117 to get to the next level. So my next goal is going to be to get to level 5 skinning. But that's I'm going to need the 3 days of premium because that's going to give you an extra 90 learning points. But I will not do that until I can play 3 days straight, so I'm not wasting any days of the free premium you get on a new account. Then I decided to go, I found a mist. And I decided to go there and see what I could find. Nothing special, but good fame, combat fame, and decent silver. Even open world mobs is like 1800 per, and that's really a lot. And I'm not even using a satchel, which will kind of convert your silver, extra combat fame, but cost you silver. And that'll help you level up even quicker, but more silver early on is more important to me, so I could, again, flip it. Then I find my first Skinner tome, which is awesome, which is kind of the reason you do gathering, to get these tomes. Every trip of a hide might give you like 20,000, but then you get one skinning tome, and it's like 70,000 to 80,000 silver, which is pretty awesome, especially early on when you don't have much silver. Finding a tome is like a jackpot. And then I go back to the well again, continue to edit my buy orders and sell orders for mules, and what else did I sell here? Eggs, my shoes, the mule, and healing potions. Sticky potions, poison potions, anything people like use a lot of, like I'm saying like hundreds or thousands of per day. And you could sort by 4 weeks, which I always do, which you see in the bottom right there. That's how you, in my opinion, you get the most profit. Just finding those items and continuing to edit your orders, and then any silver, instead of spending it, you invest it right back into the items. So that's my day one. I will post another video once I can do my premium, and my next goals will probably be tier 5 skinning, as well as I'm trying to get to 1 million silver. So right now I have about probably 500,000 plus my gear, so around 600,000 silver in day one. I'm sure people have done more than me, but it's been a fun journey. I just wanted to share it with you guys, and hopefully this longer video was more enjoyable, because a lot of people were asking me to make a longer video. And I tried to take the highlights from my, whatever it was, 5-6 hours, if not more, I played on day one. And yeah, continuing along, again, chests, beds, anything that I can make a decent margin on, I'm trading. So hopefully you enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.